I'm not saying it.
But I know exactly who it is. I know how that gun got there. I know who gun it was. And I thought it was weird that the last time we talked about this shit, Kelsey jumped in my DMs talking about, hey, don't talk about this no more. Why? You got immunity.
All right, so everybody has been talking about this testimony from Tory Lanez's driver. Now, y'all ain't seen me post about it because this information came out last December, but it's been floating around the internet all over Twitter, and it has the conversation going again, and it has people saying that they feel like Kelsey was the shooter. So let's see what the Podfather himself has to say about this groundbreaking revelation. Make sure you like the video and subscribe.
Any of y'all out there that believe that Tory Lanez picked up a gun while he was with two girls that he popped them both, said dance bitch, and shot her in the foot, I stand by, you're an idiot. I never left that. I never left it. Now, I'm not saying that he don't deserve to be where he is because the charge don't have nothing to do with none of that.
Exactly.
Yes.
But even in that, there was politics in that court case, and the more that comes out, I'm feeling Tory Lanez's dad being mad. Anybody that knows what happened. So the driver came out and gave his statement finally.
Affidavit. Yeah.
And in that statement, he details, this is like our first real account. I don't really listen to Kelsey, Meg, and Tory because they was in the fray of it. The driver got low. So this is our first account from somebody who was there that just got low, never gave a story. And he says, we got in the car, the two, that's when it came out that he was fucking both of us, or both of them rather. They said, pull the car over. One went to a bus stop. Tory went over there, consoled her. They got back in the car, drove a little more, then they stopped again. And then then according to the driver, Kelsey and Meg get out.
Started arguing.
And
fighting.
Kelsey pulls a hammer. Tory goes, grabs Kelsey, and the driver says he did not see who pulled the trigger because his back was turned, but the gun went off. So that's what we have there. For some, that changes absolutely nothing. For some, it changes everything. I never believed that. I believed the whole time that Tory really liked Meg. He did.
Why do we trust the driver?
We don't.
Okay.
And my other thing is, I
don't know him.
I read that whole thing. That shit was dated December. Why are we just seeing this now? Like, after everything.
And
they
why?
Didn't submit it.
What's that?
They didn't submit it, and they didn't want to cross-examine him.
I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is factual, but they said that the defense didn't want to bring him up because it didn't necessarily clarify the situation for their case.
Yeah.
My thing is that Meg has, shout out to her. She has went out her way to tell this story and to paint Tory in the light, and rightfully so. But if this is true, then her whole credibility is shot.
See, I don't say rightfully so because he shot me and I got shot are not the same.
I believe Meg. I believe Meg from the beginning. The phone call from jail from Tory was the thing to me that put it over the top. He sounded like somebody who did something. He sounded guilty, and the physical evidence seems to be consistent with him doing it.
I hate that.
Because that phone call could have literally, again,
he apologized for something.
They just found out that
don't
he was fucking both of them.
I'm apologizing for shooting you.
Yeah.
He is accountable for the events that led up to that. If you fucked her and you fucked a friend and now they fighting and it's a big fight and somebody ends up getting injured, if you're a man, see that's where this man rules and how society views an apology is just very different. Society views an apology as an admission of guilt. Man rules is, as a man, you say sorry when you're wrong.
I'm even sorry that this whole thing happened.
Yes.
I'm sorry I put you in that.
That's some shit you say at the crib.
No, you can say that from jail. When you have time to think, I'm sorry I didn't put you in that position.
Yeah, but when you're in jail, you know that every single phone call is being recorded.
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all believe that Tory Lanez shot her in the foot?
Yes. Absolutely.
You believe that he said dance bitch?
That I can't say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
it's hard for me to believe that she would make that up. So if I had to put my money on it, I would say yes.
It's hard for you to believe that she would make up saying dance bitch?
If I begin from the premise that he shot her, then I have no reason I'm trusting her account. And so then, it's more likely that he said that than he didn't say that.
I think that's scary.
All right, so let me ask you a question.
Very.
So you said you have a hard time believing that she would lie about that?
About that particular detail, yeah.
So when she went on there and Gail and lied that she even fucked him,
I could totally see that.
So it's clear that you will lie about some shit involving this dude.
I don't think that she's above not telling the truth. I don't think anybody's above not telling the truth. But there are certain lies that people tell. Women often talk about, women often get shamed for their sex partners. They often get
That part.
discredited for their sex partners. They get judged for their sex partners. How many, how often, who. You know what I mean? I can see that.
Yo, I don't even want to get into the he say, she say part of this. All of them involved have reason to lie.
True.
Everybody there has reason to lie. So I'm not really going with who do I trust more. I'm just going with nigga thoughts. For real. What is more likely? Tory leaves the studio, goes to Kylie Jenner's house, is having a blast, think he about to get the foursome popping off. Meg gets jailed. We know how they got in the car. What's more likely? That Tory was just so angered in that car that he took Kelsey's gun and shot her? Because there's a few people that, listen, some people know whose gun it was. Like, listen, that part, I can't share how. We know whose gun it was. So he took her gun and shot her. Why? Why was he so mad? Because that's the scary part. That's back to that whole man versus bear in the wood shit. Y'all think a man is just shooting a girl for no reason? Give me the reason. Because the only reason we got was I said that I had more number ones than him.
I shit on his career.
You telling me that the
Male
black
ego is a motherfucker, though.
Dog, it ain't that much of a motherfucker.
Yeah,
it ain't that much. Or what's more believable? Two people that was running around as best friends, new in the music industry. One gets COVID, comes back, finds out her best friend is fucking the nigga that she is fucking on.
And they drunk and high.
That's the other piece of it.
And this nigga just was about to get some Kylie Jenner ass. We just left there. We made him leave. Hey, get out the pool. Come on, you come with us. That guy is shooting. No, that guy wants to go back.
I still think that it wasn't necessarily him intentionally shooting. If he did, in fact, was the person that pulled the trigger, I think it was a
Just
scuffle.
recklessness. It's
It was a bunch
scuffle
of
and
fucking-
recklessness.
Or maybe he shot at the
Scuffle.
ground and just actually...
Yeah.
Scuffle and recklessness is still different than he shot me, which has been my beef with Meg this entire time.
Gotcha.
Why would she make it up? Well, seriously, I mean...
Well, first of all, I think it's above her. I don't think she made it up.
Okay.
It's above her. She's a mere pawn in this. This play is greater than her. She didn't make nothing up. I ain't gonna say who I think made it up,
Okay.
but it wasn't her.
Okay.
And who set the play to make sure it gets out that way and stays that way.
Yeah. Like, actually, niggas out there know who it is. I ain't saying it on my broadcast.
I'm not saying it.
But I know exactly who it is. I know how that gun got there. I know who gun it was. And I thought it was weird that the last time we talked about this shit, Kelsey jumped in my DMs talking about, hey, don't talk about this no more. Why? You got immunity. That's odd. It's just odd. Why wouldn't you want somebody to talk about one of the biggest cases in half a year? That was odd to me.
All right, so let's get straight into this. Now, if y'all don't know, I was the second biggest person on YouTube talking about this case while it was going on. Nobody had more engagement or more views on the case than me, other than DJ Academics. That's just a fact. Anyway, now, given that a lot of y'all who know or was around during that time that I went through a lot of this case. I was listening to a lot of lawyers talk about this case. Milagro Grams, who was at the courthouse, I was really studying her information. And you had Lawyer for Workers, who was also at the courthouse as well, speaking about this case, giving people like me information, and we was relaying it back to y'all. It did look like for a second that this would be a mistrial. And anybody who was there paying attention to it and not just, watching certain YouTube clips and your favorite YouTuber who picked a side. I never picked a side. It might have seemed like because I was platforming Milagro Grams and posting a lot of her lives because she would do a recap at night. It might have seemed like because she's on Tory Lanez's side, I picked Tory to win this whole thing. But I was always trying to stay in the middle. I was always trying to see it from both sides. And I feel like that's why that was one of my biggest moments on YouTube. Okay? And I was dedicated to the case. My grandma was in the hospital with cancer while I was covering that case. And I still made sure I got all the information to y'all. So I was on it. So when I say yes, it did look like there was not enough evidence to put Tory in jail, and people were shocked. And his father, he wasn't the only one who had an issue with that. I saw these communities and the internet blow up and say, hold on, how? Y'all got to remember, there was no DNA evidence that said Tory had that gun. That's another part a lot of people forget about. Another thing is that guy who was the witness that they talked about in the podcast today, he never said Tory did anything. He just said he saw the little one with the gun, but he didn't say he saw Tory shoot anybody. So now we got DNA evidence saying he didn't touch the gun. We got another person who's saying I didn't see him shoot it, but I saw him with it. And then, like everybody said, Tory, or everybody in the podcast just said, Tory did not get arrested for doing that to Meg. He got arrested for allegedly having the firearm, not doing that to Meg. At the time, I don't think a lot of us were questioning, Megan saying he was shooting at the ground, talking about dance, bitch, dance. Like, it did seem crazy when I think about it today, but back then, I think a lot of us were just going with her story. I don't think that was the biggest, point of contention during that time. Why would Tory say that? I think the biggest part for a lot of people was Megan being seen as a liar. Now, I'm totally with she went on Gayle King and she lied about having sex with Tory because she was embarrassed. But then there's another part of me that's like, well, y'all was on red carpets together while you was literally putting your backside on his privates. Y'all don't remember that picture where she was bending over and he was in the back like this? Hey, nigga, donate. Hit the super chat. Scan the PayPal. Hit the Cash App. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Like, you're literally putting your private part on his private part publicly. I guess if you want to make up a story and say you do that with people that you're not engaged sexually with, that's fine. But regardless, for whatever reason she lied, that does make her look a certain way. That does go into a lot of the stories that people have about Megan Thee Stallion and how she's operated in the industry when it comes to men since she blew up. Y'all know what it is. Academics was saying it in a more raw way than I'm saying it. But yes, Megan did have a reputation. Another thing I think about now is the fact that Megan has done nothing but tell us that she has an alcohol problem for the last 2 or 3 years. And when I look at it now, I'm like, well, if anything ever came out to say that Megan lied, the first thing she would say is, I was drunk. I really don't know what happened. Y'all know I got an alcohol problem. I just wondered why so many people would just believe that this girl who was drunk along with all of them were intoxicated. I don't know why everybody was just going off the word of 4 drunk people. Not even just Meg. All of them were completely shit-faced, if you ask me. Another part about this is when everything really broke out and it happened, because see, I remember every detail. She told Tory and she told the world, I was going to hold it down. And to me, that says something to me too. Let's just say she did get hit in the foot by Tory. To me, if you was going to hold it down, that meant that you might have thought it wasn't on purpose. That means you might have thought it was something other than he just aimed the firearm at you and let go of the trigger. Because why would you hold it down? I get it. They were screwing. But it's not like they grew up together. It's not like she know him from a can of paint. They just met each other for a summer, maybe a year. I feel like they was together for basically a summer. And yeah, they was vibing, and I think they both liked each other. She'll never admit it, but I think she loved Tory. And I think Tory loved her. I think they was in love. But it was a very quick and fleeting love. And, I just wonder, how it went from you wanted to hold it down to now let's put him in jail just because he said something on social media. So him saying something that you didn't like on social media, because I remember he went live and that's when she got upset and said, he shot me because of something that he said on Instagram live. That made you want to put him in jail, but hours before that, you was willing to hold it down. That don't make, like, to me, that don't point to, I think he deliberately did that to me. To me, that points out to what the driver is saying. They was wrestling, Kelsey and Tory was wrestling for the firearm, and it went off, and she got hit with shrapnel, like she got hit with fragments. Because that's what happened. Like, that's another thing. I think some people really think that a bullet hit her foot. No, she got hit with bullet fragments, which is still very traumatizing, but I'm just saying that leads to possibly she was hit in the foot mistakenly. Basically, I don't think she knew what happened. I think she was too drunk to say what happened. As Joe said, they all got motivation to lie. Tory got motivation to lie. He don't want to go to jail. He don't want his career ruined. But she also had motivation to lie because her career was blowing up and she was getting a lot of sympathy. And let's just really be honest. Look at her career since the Tory Lanez trial. I think a lot of that shit backfired on her. I think, number one, a lot of people underestimated how many people supported Tory. But I also think a lot of people realized, even if they were defending Meg, that at the time they were blowing her up and running them numbers up because of the Tory situation. Not because they liked her music, not because they liked Meg. I think the more that shit went on and the more people found out about Meg, yeah, you might feel like Tory shot her, but you might still feel like Megan is a liar. You might still feel like Megan is a hoe. The more they started really going into her personality, I think while she got support on the trial part, I think she also lost fans on the music part. You see what I'm saying? You can support somebody and say, yeah, that's fucked up what that nigga did to you, but as a person, I don't like you. I think it's a lot of different factors that add into now she putting out albums and she flopping. And I think if this situation wouldn't have went down like that, I think she would still have a more, credible argument to say she's one of the top female rappers. I know for a while y'all really thought Megan was on Cardi B's tail, but right now I'm putting Glorilla over Megan Thee Stallion. I think Glorilla after this summer, I think it's apparent she's the third biggest female rapper after Cardi and Nicki. I'm being honest with you, just off music and shit selling and shit going viral. Megan is really good at selling products. Megan is really good at performing at Kamala Harris presidential shit, twerking when she ain't supposed to, in my opinion. But when it comes to moving units, ain't nobody really moving units like Glorilla. I'm just being honest with you. And I'm talking about as far as on that lower tier. Obviously, the Nickis and the Cardis, they probably do better numbers. But I'm just talking about, I don't think Megan Thee Stallion is selling more records than Glorilla. I might, we gonna see what this Lotto album do, but I wouldn't be surprised if this Lotto album does better than Megan Thee Stallion's album. And that's the thing about entertainment and people getting put on these platforms. It will fool you into thinking, oh, that person is popping. Then the numbers come out and it's like, oh, Megan flopped. And she's signed to a label. That's my point about that as well. I think that case really hurt her, if you ask me. Because a lot of these people who was talking about, justice for women and all this other shit, y'all not supporting Megan. Y'all not buying her albums. Y'all not going to them tours. Because that's what people don't understand. You could be popping on TikTok. That don't mean you're going to be popping on YouTube. People could support you in that trial. That don't mean that they support you musically. You could be popping on Facebook, but that don't mean that's going to translate to these other places. So, still, even with all that being said, if anybody has been watching me, and I'm gonna end it with this, to me this all goes back to this. Cause I'm gonna tell you what the most egregious part of this is. Y'all notice they never brought Kylie Jenner or anybody else who was in that house in court but the stylist. Kelsey, Tory, the stylist, and that's it, right? Nobody else had to be in that court. My whole point is, you got to understand, as black people in entertainment, it's certain places you are not supposed to be at. And I'm not going to say you can't go to a little function or a party, but you shouldn't be getting sloppy drunk at people's houses where if some shit go down, they not going to get in trouble. It's going to be you who get in trouble. And to me, that was the main mistake. Tory and Meg should not have been getting sloppy drunk in Kylie Jenner's house. And to me, if you would have been smart enough to leave before you got too sloppy, I don't think this would have happened. And it's a bunch of shit I can say. I could say if Tory and Kylie wanted to link, you should have linked without your two other girls that you sleeping with. But that go to show you how nasty Hollywood is. Because you don't think Kylie knew that Tory was smashing at least one of them, but she still was trying to smash, allegedly? All of them situations don't mix. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I know I just said a lot, but like the video and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Peace.